Alright guys, thanks for watching this video about indefinite pronouns. Today our objectives are to classify indefinite pronouns as plural or singular, and then select singular or plural verbs appropriately. So an indefinite pronoun is a pronoun that could refer to any of many people, places, or things. You use pronouns like these when you're uncertain of who is doing something, usually. Some indefinite pronouns are singular, some are plural, and some can be singular or plural. So there's three types. There are singular indefinites, there are plural indefinites, and then there are ones that depend. So here's the list. These are all of them. These are the most common ones, the ones we care about. So in the first list, we have all of the singular ones. You're going to want to pause the video here at home and then copy them down or copy them out of the grammar book. These lists come from there. So there are a couple features here that might help you memorize all of them though. So if you'll notice, all of the pronouns with the word body, so anybody, everybody, nobody, and somebody, these are all singular. And also anything with one, and that makes sense because one is one and one is singular. So anything with one, so anyone, everyone, the word one, and someone. And then also anything that's thing, because thing, one thing is singular. So anything, everything, no thing, something. And then now all you have to remember is, no one, we forgot that one, is each, either, and neither. So that's somewhat helpful. Just remember the buddies, the things, and the ones are going to be singular always. Now these ones are always plural. Both is a plural subject, few, many, and several. And then these depend on prepositional phrases that follow them. So these can be plural or singular depending on the use. Now this runs counter to a rule we saw in the previous video. The previous video said quite clearly that the number of a subject is not changed by a word in a phrase or a clause following the subject. It gets a little bit more confusing because this is not true with indefinite pronouns. With indefinite pronouns, those prepositional phrases and clauses are essential for knowing whether or not something is plural or not. So let's look at a few examples. So here are a few examples. So the first one here, neither. Now if you look at the list here, the word neither is on the singular list. It's right here, neither. So neither is singular. This means I have to use a verb that ends in S. Neither of those films is, there is our verb ending in S. The next one, few. Few. Few is in the list here of plural, always plural. This means if I use the word few, I have to use a plural verb. This means a verb that doesn't end in S, and lo and behold, we're saying the word praise. Few, praise it. Now we have the word most. Here's our subject, most. Most is in the depends on use. It depends how you use it. The depends on use words will depend on prepositional phrases usually that follow them. That will tell you whether they're plural or singular. So let's see what they're talking about. Most of the movie. The movie is a singular thing. This is singular, so that means most here is singular. So I'm going to use a verb that ends in S, so I'll say is. Here, though, we have another use of most. Now we have most of the action scenes. So since most is one of those subjects that depends on how it's used, we have to look at the prepositional phrase. It's the only time you have to look at this prepositional phrase. Otherwise, you disregard it. Most of the action scenes. Since we're no longer talking about the movie as a whole, now we're talking about scenes. This is a plural thing. Now we're going to use a verb that doesn't end in S. This is where your intuition can kind of mess you up because you really have to see how sometimes no S, sometimes S, and you really have to know which of these words go with which kind. Let's do a few examples. So the first one we have anybody. Anybody is the indefinite pronoun in this example. And if you look, anybody is singular. Any of the pronouns that end with the word buddy, so it's anybody, everybody, somebody, nobody, all of the buddy ones are going to be singular. So this means a verb that ends in S. Anybody who had his or her parents' permission was allowed. Next we use the word several. Several is on the plural list. There it is, right here, several. So several means a verb without an S. Several have. Several of our neighbors' puppies have. Now number 3. The word is some. Some is the subject here. And let's look at this. Now what's interesting is somebody and something and someone are all singular. But some itself, just the word some, depends on use. This means I have to look at the prepositional phrase that follows. Some of what? Some of the puzzle pieces. Puzzle pieces, that's plural. This is a plural thing, pieces. This means a verb without S. Some of the puzzle pieces are missing. 4. Everything. Here's our subject. Let's look at our lists. Everything is singular. Here it is. In fact, all of the words with thing in it, everything, something, anything, nothing, these are all singular. So that means a verb that ends in S. Everything you advise me to do has. And then we have number 5. Something. Again, we have this thing ending. If you look at the list, all of the thing endings are singular. Here it is, something, singular. This means a verb that ends in S. Something to think about is. I'm going to just go lightning through the next set here. So here we have the word most. Most is on the it depends list. Here it is. So now we have to look at the prepositional phrase. Most of the ingredients, that means that's plural, so no S. Most were. Now we have the word none. None is on the depends on use list. Here it is, none. So none of what? The documentary. Documentary is singular, so you have to say has. None of the documentary has been cut. Number 3, they use the word several. Here it is, several. There's our subject. Let's look at our list here. The word several, right here, it's plural. That means no S. Several in the crowd are. 4, we have everything. Remember, all of the thing words like everything or something are singular. So that means has. And then we have the word all. All is on the depends on use. It's right here, all. So in the depends on use ones, we have to look at what's after it. All of what? All of us. Us is plural. That's more than one person, place, or thing. So all of us in the forensic society are going. No S because it's plural. Alright, so our objectives today were to classify indefinite pronouns as singular, as plural, or singular. Here's the list that you'll need to do that appropriately. And then we selected singular or plural verbs appropriately. Good luck.